one of those cute little tiger striped uniforms. Not likely coming home.
Greetings and welcome to Joe Takes 35 in the new year here, 2024. How you doing, Per? Welcome. It's nice to see you here tonight. Tonight I'm talking about Tiger Force, the largest G.I. Joe sub-team that has existed, and the G.I. Joe-verse is like what I like to call it. Let me put on a little bit of background music so that we can have a little bit, so that there's no dead air behind me. Glad to see you, bud. Now, what I normally do when I look at, I get my take on G.I. Joe, I start with the vintage figures, and I don't have all the vintage Tiger Force figures, but I do have 6 to show you. I used to have all the ones that they sold in stores. I no longer have my Duke figure, my Dusty, or my Recondo, which I used to have. But I do have Tripwire, which I always thought looked really good in this particular uniform. The only other Tripwire I had up to this point when this came out in 1988 was the Listen and Fun Tripwire that came out in 1985, which was bright orange and red. So I really didn't care for that one, but when this one came out, I was really excited to get me a Tripwire. He's a really cool figure. Of course, they had to include a heavy machine gunner, so they had to have Roadblock. Now, I'm really expecting a Roadblock in the classified line, maybe a Tripwire too, since they finally brought Tripwire out as well. So, yeah. I have a lot of the original accessories that came with these figures, but some of them I just gave them accessories because I had the figure and I don't know exactly what happened to the accessories. It has been more than 35 years. So the next one we'll look at is Bazooka. Now, Bazooka is a really cool character. He doesn't get a lot of love sometimes. We see, he said, says Roadblock was a trip. He wasn't scared of anything, and he always pulled his weight. Yes, sir, he did. He's also got the biggest heart of any other of the Joes. I really like Roadblock. He's in my top 5 favorite G.I. Joes. Bazooka, now, I had the original Bazooka, but when this guy came out, he looked so much cooler to me. Although I decided that some of the things that on this particular figure weren't as cool as the original, so I would always switch up the backpack to the original. Now, my original Bazooka I used for parts because I had this one, and I did that a lot. And I had no notion that I was going to be a collector as an older adult, as a teenage boy, and when I went into my 20s, I kind of stopped collecting for a while because I didn't have the notion that I was a G.I. Joe collector, as it were. But Bazooka was really cool. I thought this particular helmet did not really look good on this figure. I liked his original helmet from the original Bazooka, so this is normally the way I display him. Now, this particular Bazooka backpack has one of the missile heads broken off. So sometimes I use the other one, and sometimes I use that one, but I prefer to match it up with the helmet. And so I really like that one. Next up I have is Flint, who is the Tiger Force leader, as far as him being the officer, and Duke is the platoon sergeant. Now, these were really cool figures. This definitely wasn't his original shotgun, but his original shotgun was really small, and I have mine for my original Flint, which I still have. I did do a Joe Take on Flint. You can check that out. But I replaced it with this big old combat assault shotgun, and this guy's really old, so he has a hard time, staying stiff and holding things up. But I like that combat assault shotgun, and I'm not sure if this is the pack he came with or one from accessory pack, but that is a Flint backpack. Okay, the next one is Lifeline. Now, Lifeline, same situation with Bazooka. I pretty much used my original Lifeline for parts, and I like this one better. The bright red, I know he was a rescue trooper, but it just didn't seem like it made a lot of sense for him to be roaming around the jungle in a bright red suit. But this one was a lot better. So when they come up with a Lifeline, I hope they do a Tiger Force figure too. You haven't seen Flint in years? Yeah, like I said, I have the very first Jotek I did. Jotek's #1 was my Flint video. So if you want, you can look back through there and check that out. Now, yeah, I was really, I just not knowing what I was even doing with them. And Flint shotgun looks like a Frenchie Spas 12 gauge. It was popular a while back in those days. Yeah, it was. I liked it, but like I said, I lost it, so I decided to give it that bigger combat assault shotgun. And a lot of times, I do know some of the names of the other weapons and stuff, but I wasn't really into that aspect of it. I did do a lot of research for a book I did called The Great Fury, which is not G.I. Joe related, but it's definitely a military action book. It's a novel that I have available on Amazon.com by Christopher Hilt. That's my author name. Now, this is Sky Striker. I know they named him after the original G.I. Joe jet. But he came with the Tiger Rat, which was a G.I. Joe version, Tiger Force version of the Rattler from Cobra, which was a dynamite plane, but I never got that one. I do have like 2 or 3 Rattlers, but I never actually got the Tiger Force Rattler, which was really cool, and I wouldn't mind getting my hands on that one. Now, I do have some card examples from the 25th anniversary. I have Flint, and there was only 2 that came out on card in the 25th anniversary. They also came out with Wild Bill. It came with the Tiger Rat this go round. So I didn't manage to pick that one up. I wish I had, because that would have been a cool Wild Bill to have. But see how they list him as the Tiger Force leader. And I do have Duke, but my problem here is now this isn't really an on-card example any longer. Right up until like 2 weeks ago, I had this on card and on the wall, but my cat decided to take a whap at it, and so it just popped right off. So I might try to glue it back down, but it's not the same. Once it's damaged, it's damaged. So that's the story on that one. And let's see, you're referring to the shotgun that Flint has on him now? Yes. I don't recall what Flint originally had. It was just a little leaky, sawed-off 12-gauge shotgun. Not really sawed off. It didn't have a stock, is what it was. Yeah, Odell. Yeah, it's cats. I love my cat. So that's just how it is sometimes. Now, all the vintage vehicles for Tiger Force, I do have one. I never really got into the vehicle so much, but I did manage to pick up this one because I love the original so much, and mine was damaged, so I managed to acquire this. I didn't actually buy it new. I bought it from a friend, and I did have the Recondo that came with this. However, Recondo, I had the original 1984 Recondo, so again, he's one of those that as a younger man, I used him for parts. And the Tiger Force, the Tiger Fly, as they call it, the Dragonfly, and the Tiger Force line is so cool. And my rotor still works. Now, I did manage to pick up a Locust, which came out in the year 2000 with Wild Bill. That was another reproduction of this. And that particular Dragonfly, which they called it a Locust, I don't know why, had black missiles. This one originally came with orange, which I never had. You never seen this one? Cool, I'm glad I could share it with you. It's definitely one of my favorite vehicles that I own. I have over 100 vehicles, and I definitely want to start sharing those with everybody too. I haven't really shared a lot of them. I've shared a few, but not a super amount. So I do love the way that they have the teeth on these a lot of these Tiger Force vehicles. You've only seen the first Dragonfly. Like I said, I do have one of those. And at some point, hopefully, if I ever pick up the classified Dragonfly, I'll be able to show them off and compare them together. That would be a lot of fun. Now, the Tiger Fly, again, around the same time, my cat knocked this down and actually broke the peg on this. So I'm going to have to do some repair work on the gun stock here. The peg is still in the the strut. So I'm going to have to work that out. I'm going to set this back here while I continue to look at stuff. Now that you've seen all my vintage stuff, I do have a lot of classified, and we're going to start by looking at the box art like I normally do. Now, this one right here, they all had pretty much the same back with maybe different areas that they focused on. But this is Ricardo. He was number 55 in the classified series. There we go on top. And there's the box art there for Ricardo. And I will be looking at these each of the classified figures that I have a box for. And I love the artwork for Ricardo. It was really, really good. Now, the problem is I don't have a lot of space to set these, so I'm just going to be setting them down here on the floor. Now, the next one in the series, this was actually 54 when it came out, right? They came out at the same time, so it doesn't really matter. I'm showing together was the bazooka. There's the back again. Cat, this is a joke. Yes, old cat ought to be going after Cobra, not G.I. Joe. I agree. She's on Cobra's side, my little Luna, I guess. But the box art for this bazooka was really cool. Now, they do have a newer version of bazooka, which I'm going to pick up soon. And I had already done a bazooka video, but I used my Tiger Force example, which I'll be showing again here real quick as part of this video. But I have a lot to go over, so I'm going to just keep it going with the next one that came out in the Tiger Force series. In the back, this was number 39 in the series. And this was Outback. And this is what a lot of people like to call Old Man Outback because he had white hair like the original Tiger Force Outback had it for the European version, which is what they based this off of. Really, really cool figure. And I have the other version of Outback in the classified line too. And so I'll definitely be doing an Outback video pretty soon. And I'll be able to compare both of those. But we'll be looking at the Tiger Force Outback a bit today. Now, the next Tiger Force figure to come out in the line was actually Duke, but I'm going to look at that last because it's a bigger box, and also it came with the Tiger Ram, which I'm going to be taking a look at too because it's my other Tiger Force vehicle that I have an example of. Now, the back of this is one of the newer boxes, so it showed the action figure. Now, he was number 65 in this series. Again, they have that on top. But the box art for these I know a lot of people don't like the windowless packaging, and I'm kind of one of those too. You don't know anything about Old Man Outback, so yeah, cool. We're gonna share. I'll share it with you, and you can check him out with me. Now, this particular Dusty was based off the original, which I had like two at one time. I don't know where they got put. They could have been just made for parts, but I have my original Dusty, and it to me was so much better. However, the classified version of Dusty is a lot cooler, and I'm actually glad I managed to pick him up just last month, actually. And I also last month picked up the newest member of the Tiger Force in the classified line, which would be Flint, their leader. Now, Flint is number 89 in the classified line, and he was a Target exclusive, like all the Tiger Force figures were. The box art for this is really good too. I love the fact that it shows on the newer ones here, shows all the accessories, but they're going back to the window packaging. I'm actually happy with that too because they display so much better with the window packaging. This type of packaging with the open window, so you can see the figure. So you can just stick him on the wall and you can see the figure, and you got the box art. It looks really cool, just like these old card figures, where you can just hang them on the wall, and it's awesome wall decoration. Yeah, I agree. Flint never looks so good. Yes, I'll be comparing this guy right here up with my Tiger Force Flint, so we'll be doing that in a little bit. Now, the last box that I have for Tiger Force is the Tiger Ram, Duke and the Ram. Now, this was number 40. You agree being able to see the figure is a big deal. I agree. I do. But I do love the box art for these. It's just really awesome box art. Now this, I don't know why they chose this for the cover. I mean, it was a nice bigger pick, but the really cool pick for this was on the side. And I really, really like this pick from Duke. It's one of my favorite Duke pictures that I've ever seen. I'm not a big Super Duke fan, but I do love the Tiger Force version of Duke in the classified line. I didn't like it so much in the original because I used my original for parts because I had an original Duke. But that wasn't the same for my Flint. I love both my Tiger Force Flint and my original Flint. So I have those. So first up to look at the classified is going to be, I'm going to go the same order. I got Recondo. Now this Recondo is based off the one that came with the original Tiger Fly, the vehicle I showed you there, the remake of the Dragonfly. Now he came with the rifle, and then this really cool rifle that he had wrapped on the original. Looks very similar, not exact, but it still is a good representation of the original. The backpack looks a lot like the original too. He also comes with a machete. Now, I will be doing videos for each of these individually, so I'm going to be really going over these. Recondo is an Aussie, isn't he? They never portrayed him that way. In the international line, he might have been. But in the original, I think he's like from Iowa or Wisconsin or something. We can actually take a look at that file card, and I can bring that up in a bit if you remind me, because I might forget. But that's Tiger Force Recondo. Now, they are coming out with a retro version for the classified line that looks really good, and I'm going to be wanting to pick that one up because I do have the first 4 of the retro Walmart exclusives, but the new ones aren't exclusives. They're going to be general release, which is really cool. Don't worry about it, man. I mean, the cool part about G.I. Joe is you can imagine the Joes to come from wherever you want. And I love the fact that they gave you a file card. The classified series does not. I don't know why. Now, the retro ones do, which is nice. But it's like an international file card. It doesn't show the birthplace or the rank or anything like that. Well, next up, we have Bazooka. Now, I'm going to compare them together. Now, see, like the newer one, the helmet looks better in this color than the original one did, which is why I wanted to leave the green one on so I can show you the contrast and the difference. But the backpacks were very similar. What I really love about this classified backpack, though, is that you can actually strap peg right onto the bottom of it, and it's really cool. So I really, really dig G.I. Joe classified figures. Now, what was neat about this Bazooka, I'm going to pop this off of the backpack. Now, I'll give you a closer look at Bazooka. I mean, they had a really good face sculpt on this figure. And like I said, I have looked at him before, so I'm not going to do a lot of detail on him. But what I was missing when I did the original one was the part on the Bazooka I had actually left it in the box when I made my video, so I didn't have it. So I'm going to show it off today. Let's see, mostly what from comics. Bazooka looks great. Yeah, he did. I prefer the Tiger Force version. Now this little part right here on the Bazooka actually pivots. It actually comes right off, and sometimes it falls off really easy. So you gotta peg it in there really good, but then it just swivels, and you can actually take one of the missiles from the backpack. They actually all come off, and you can either slide it in the front like this and have it look like it's coming out, and it just slides right in and out of there. Or you can stick it in the back and make it look like you're firing it from over his shoulder, and then you can just slide the back part pivot right down over the top of it, so the missile's actually in there, and then it just kind of slides right back out. But like I said, that piece comes off really easy, and I don't have a Joe Takes where I don't drop something generally, so I'm glad it's that, because this is actually fairly easy to find on my floor, because my floor is kind of a tannish color and green. A lot of these little parts just disappear on my floor, but these really bright green ones do not. So I don't mind so much on that one. Let me put Bazooka aside here, and I'm going to put his Bazooka back on the backpack, and I'm going to set this over by Recondo, and then we're going to take a look at Old Man Outback. Now, I do love the original Outback a lot more, but that's neat. Yes, it is. I thought so. And yes, I try not to let my cat get them, but she is a climber. She's a tree cat. She is all over the place. It's hard to keep her out of anything. She gets up into the vents and the ceiling, and in my house, she's all over the place. But that's okay. I still love the little brat. Now, this particular version of Outback, now the original one has a white shirt, and when I do the Outback video, I'm going to compare them. But I love this one. I'm glad I got to show this one first. It came out first in the classified series anyway. And I love the tiger on his chest. And that is exactly how they had it come in the European version back in the vintage line. It never was released in the United States like this. Now, people had them, but it wasn't released that way. And all these come out. He's got the flashlight accessory there. Let me see if I can move his hand there. He's still got just like the original, but the original pegged in. This is actually in a little. The straps go right over the leg, and you can pop it right in there, pop it right out. It's really cool. He's got a knife in his boot that comes out. His machine gun is awesome. It looks a lot like the original. The magazine comes right out of there, pops right back in, and then he's got a sidearm. What Joe, I think all the Joes should actually have the sidearm. You say it looks super. I take it Tiger has seen these too. Oh yeah, yes she has, sir. Yeah. She calls them my little men, and she says, I'm surrounded by little men all the time. That's her joke. Now, my heater just came on, and my ears popped. It kind of sucks, but that's just how it is. Now, that'll take us to the next one that came out, and I'm going to do these a little out of order on that, as far as that's concerned, because this was the next one that came out, the Tiger Force Ram. Really cool. I've shown this off several times because I really love this bike. I showed it off in the Duke video that I did. I actually did a video on this particular figure. Both of them, actually. I have the one that came out in the first 5 of the classified series. Duke was one of those. And it's the same figure, just different colors. It's really cool. But this particular Ram cycle, this part right here pops off. And this actually comes out and is a big Gatling gun. And it actually spins around in here. And this is the gun that they had come with the heavy artillery roadblock, only in black. It's really cool. And I also came with the other Ram, the original Ram, that came with Breaker in the classified series. Now, what they did here was they made some improvements on the Duke. They had him come with a gun that looks a lot more like the original. Again, the magazine pops in and out. Now, I'm disappointed that the trenching tool or shovel, spade, what do you call it, doesn't come out. Now, Outback's comes off, so I don't know why they didn't. I know it was an earlier figure and they were just getting started, but I think they could have updated this like they did with the gun, but they didn't do that. Of course, he's got his sidearm, and he does not have a combat knife, and I was a little disappointed with that because I think soldiers, especially special forces, should have a sidearm, a machine gun, and a combat knife, but they didn't do that. That's Duke and the Ram. Now that takes us to Dusty. Now I've done a video on Dusty. My 8th Joe tank was on Dusty, so you might want to check that out. This particular Dusty, same figure as the original. I did not have this when I made my video, so this is the first time I'm showing off my Tiger Force Dusty. He came with the same backpack, but I like the color of this one better. She must love him. Wow, the bike looks terrific. Thanks. I think so too. Sidearm knife, etc. I agree all the way. Good. I'm glad you do. I'm just giving my opinion on the characters. I don't really. I'm not really reviewing the characters. I'm giving you my take on the way the figure looks, and then I go at the end of the video. I talk about the characters. And in this case, I'll be just talking about Tiger Force in general. But when I do the individual Joe takes, like I will be again next week, I'll be taking a look at a single Joe next week. And so that'll be pretty cool because I'll be able to go into more detail on the character, which I really love to do. And so that's your Tiger Force Dusty. Now, I have to say, this was actually the last one I got because I had to, I went into Target and I actually found them because they're Target exclusives. Excuse me. Hello, Jay Pylon. Hello, how you doing? Thank you for the thumbs up and the welcome. Welcome, sir. We're all saying hello. That's cool. just in time to see my Tiger Force Flint. Now, I do have the vintage example to compare. So in this particular case, I can take a look at both of them. Now, I do love this original, and I do love this new Tiger Force. I'm really digging the black stripes that they painted on his face with face paint for battle. I think that's awesome. Now, originally the classified Flint, which I didn't have the Tiger Force Flint when I did it in my Flint video. So this is his debut on my channel too. And he came with everything the original Flint did, which was the sidearm. And let me get a better look at that. And the shotgun. Now, he also came with Recondo's gear loadout. He came with Recondo, the same rifle that Recondo did. I think it's very cool too, Bert. And he also came with the same machete that you can't really see it there, so I'm going to pop this one out too. He's got other stuff. He's got like smoke grenades and stuff on him. That's really cool. Came with the same machete that Recondo did, so he had the Recondo's full loadout and his own full loadout with the shotgun. Now this shotgun is really cool. It slides in and out of the backpack. It's not really a backpack. It's kind of just a sheath that doesn't come off. Now, a lot of people have cut these off and done some customization, and it's really cool. This particular shotgun actually folds down like this, so you can make it, when you pose the figure, you can make it look like he's loaded the shotgun. And then you've got the detail paint on the shotgun shells right there on the rifle, on the shotgun. And it's got the pump action in green. It's the same shotgun, but they have different paint applications, and it's really cool. Big Flint, he is in my top 5 of Joe's, and one of my favorite characters, which is why I started my Joe takes with Flint. Now, that's all my figures. However, there's also something else I like to do. I like to talk about how they were in media. There was only commercials that they did for the Tiger Force. Let me see. They both carry old Chris. All right, yes, sir. So they can chop some jungle away with them. Now, the only other thing that commercials that they did was a issue of Special Missions. Now, this was written by, I'm pretty sure, Larry Hallman. I'm gonna take this out and take a better look at it. It's in the plastic. The glare really comes down on it. And I like to do everything G.I. Joe, figures, comics, when I do my Joe takes. And this particular cover is pretty cool. It's got the big pterodon on there. And the Special Missions here, it's written by Larry Hallman, and art is by Herb Trimpe. And this issue is called Force Play. And as you can see on the bottom here, they've got a tiger, a paw, which is a Cobra Ferret redone as a Tiger Force vehicle. They got a Tiger Vamp and a Tiger Cat, which is just a Tiger Vamp is just a Vamp Mark II redone, and the Tiger Cat is a Snow Cat redone, and they actually have those right there in the comic. This was an interesting story. It's been a long time since I read it, but they basically were undercover for the CIA, and they went in to back them up, and they were actually supposed to play the fall guy, but Duke wasn't having it, of course. And they actually had several other characters in here that were not Tiger Force that were participating in the operation, which was really cool because you got Alpine right here, undercover with Jinx. And Jinx later on and Alpine both became members of Tiger Force. Now, if you checked out that video at the beginning, or you can go back and you can watch, I have it separate, Joe Takes 35. You can check out all the file cards for all the Tiger Force that I could find and compile, which is quite big, and that's why that video is so long. Tiger Force is just way big. And I like they got this really cool picture of Lifeline there. Yeah, you would think that Lifeline's a pacifist, and he is. But he also is a black belt Aikido in the comics and knows how to defend himself. It's good for Duke. He always stands up for what's right. Yes, yeah, I agree. That's what I like about Duke. There's a lot of things I do like about Duke, but my favorite Joe leader is Flint. Duke is cool too, but the way I see it is
Flint is the officer, and Duke is the platoon sergeant or first sergeant, however you want to define it. He's the senior NCO, and Duke is the officer in charge, their captain, basically. Now, I know the movies and stuff, they made Duke the captain, but originally he was intended to be their first sergeant, and I don't know why they would want to change that fundamental fact about Duke. That's what, that was part of what made him so cool, was he was G.I. Joe's first sergeant. Now, they even had Ripcord in here, undercover with Alpine. It was pretty cool, Alpine and Jinx. And I just like the fact that they included the Tiger Force in one issue. Now, they may have done some issues later for companies, but in Marvel, I'm pretty sure that Special Missions number 25 is the only edition that has of the Marvel run that had Tiger Force in it. Flint's terrific, practical, solid head on shoulders. I never saw the movies. The movies aren't bad. Now, a lot of people give them a bad rap, but you just got to go into them realizing that they're not going to follow the comic or the cartoon, or they're their own story, basically their own version of the Joe-verse. And so going into that with that attitude, they're fun movies to watch. That's just my opinion. So, if you ever get the opportunity, go and watch it. But I don't even mind the Snake Eyes movie. It's not Snake Eyes, but it's a different version of Snake Eyes. And it is a decent movie, but I consider it kind of a Storm Shadow movie. But like I said, they go through, they have some of the vehicles in the Tiger Force style, and have them in the Tiger Force, some of the Joes in the Tiger Force uniforms like Dusty there. Now, I don't think Duke was in his Tiger Force uniform. I think he was in his regular uniform, but that's Duke for you, He's going to do what he's going to do. A gung-ho, take charge kind of guy. No pun intended for poor gung-ho here, who I have an opinion on why gung-ho was never included with the Tiger Force, but we'll talk about that after we finish going over the comic here a little bit. And I'm just kind of skimming through it, showing you bits and pieces here. There is one line I definitely wanted to share with you. They were actually in a museum, and they actually accidentally shot down the pterodon, and that's why it was on the cover. There was no real dinosaurs in here. It was a stuffed dinosaur. Let's see here. Okay, I appreciate you sharing take on the movies. It helps knowing it's not the comics, but an alternate universe. Yes. The cartoon and the comics. Now, when it transferred over to Image Comics, they kind of conglomerated everything together as far as the cartoon and the movies. But Larry Hama never did that. When he started writing the comics again, at first he did a few for Image, and then he did Devil's Due, and then he did a few on I don't know if he did Devil's Due or not, but, which was America's Elite, which was a good comic series, but it wasn't Larry Hama, it wasn't the original storyline. But then it was IDW, and he started again right over on issue 156. The Marvel series ended on 155, and he went right to 300 with IDW. And now it's back to Image, and they've started on 301. I need to pick those up, but Larry Hama is still writing it, so it's pretty cool. Yeah, but there, like I said, there was a scene in here where this yes man from the CIA was trying to frame them for everything that was going wrong, and Duke got all mad at him and said, "Hart, is that the mating call, the yellow-bellied blade shifter I hear?" It was just a cool Duke line, and if I can find it in here, I'll show you. But it might have been earlier on. I could have just missed it. Duke is quite the character, and he was really cool in this as the Tiger Force first sergeant. So it's pretty cool. So that's the comic book version of Tiger Force. And it was decent. It was written by Larry Hama, so it had all the flair and everything of a G.I. Joe Marvel comic, which all the newer ones for IDW still do. I'm going to just slide this right back in here where it belongs. And I have every special mission that they had out. Just put that back in there. And I went over that in the video when I did a video called G.I. Joe and Me, and I did two of those. One with the Marvel and then some with the newer ones. So of what I have. So yeah, I take a better look at that. Now, that takes us to just my opinion on Tiger Force in general. Tiger Force was kind of based loosely off a team that had a bad rap in Vietnam. Now, other commentators have given their opinion and stuff on that, and I don't see GI Joe as really based off that. It was just what they called the sub team. Let me see. Larry Hama, I believe most of my GI Joe time is under his pen. He's an absolutely fantastic writer. I couldn't agree more. He's one of my as an author myself. He's one of my heroes as an author, and I get involved in any story he writes. Generally, he wrote Wolverine for a long time. I really enjoyed that. So Larry Hama, yes, he's a great writer. So as far as my opinion of Tiger Force, they serve their purpose. Tiger Force is basically G.I. Joe's Special Forces unit in a Special Forces unit. That's kind of how I see that. And it's kind of like a badge of honor to have served on Tiger Force or Night Force. And I'm not really sure. There was a team in Vietnam that was involved in a scandal, and it was pretty bad. But most people don't associate the G.I. Joe Tiger Force with that. But it's something worth looking up. It's historical. Little Cobra Commander 788, who I have a link to in the description, did a video on that. Probably not easy to find. I mean, he has a pretty big channel. He's been around for about 10 years and has a lot of videos, a lot more than I do. So it's not the G.I. Joe the G.I. Joe Tiger Force that has a bad rap. It's what the connotations of what the original Tiger Force in real life had. So take it as you will. I take it with a grain of salt, and just like my G.I. Joe and my G.I. Joe Tiger Force, I really enjoy the fact that later on they had so many other characters join. Stalker became a member of Tiger Force. My favorite character, Airtight. And like I said in that video at the beginning, and Joe Takes 35, I have a ton of file cards in there for you to check out. And pretty much everything I could find is in there as far as file cards that became Tiger Force, G.I. Joe members. Now, my theory on Gung Ho, why he wasn't in there, is I'm pretty sure that all the Tiger Force members were either Airborne Rangers, Army, or Army in general. And Gung Ho is a Marine. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but it seems like a really odd coincidence that Leatherneck was never a Tiger Force. It either was Mainframe or Sergeant Slaughter, and I'm pretty sure those are some of the only Marines in G.I. Joe. But I don't think any of the Marines served in Tiger Force or any of the Navy. So I could be wrong on that. Shipwreck is a different case because he was in Tiger Force. But it depends on your version of the story or how Shipwreck joined G.I. Joe. He was Navy, but Shipwreck's just a dynamic character, and I gave my take on him a while back too. Let me see. You might know the unit. G.I. Joe having an elite unit like Tiger Force is pretty cool. I agree too. Night Force is a neat team too. I don't really have any Night Force, at least not in the vintage line. I do have 3 or 4, I think, that came out in like the 25th anniversary or modern line of 4-inch figures. So that so at some point I might take a look at them if I start getting some classified versions of Night Force. That's kind of my thing. If I get the classified figure, I'll give you my Joe take on it. So that's my take on Tiger Force. Now I'm trying to change things up and make things as professional as I can for the new year. You see, person says I don't know if Gung Ho was Marine Force Recon. If one has to be Special Forces to join Tiger Force, that would keep him out if he wasn't. I'm pretty sure he was Marine Force Recon. But I think it's the fact that they're Army. I'm not really sure. And Night Force is a whole other animal that I haven't really got into. I'll be checking that out at some point in the future. Jay says, these sound cool. I'm glad you like them. Man, yes, sir. Now, I'm going to do something, like I said, I'm going to do something a little different on this Joe tape because I'm pretty much done with giving my take on Tiger Force, and I hope you enjoyed it. But I'm also going to start including the promo for next week's Joe Takes. So check that out and know what's coming up next Saturday. on Joe Takes 36. And with that all being said, Logan out, and I hope you enjoy Spirit Iron Knife Freedom.
Well, all right, Spirit. It looks like you're good to go.